How can technology from the ITS industry be used to increase the number of electrical vehicles on the roads? Mobility, for me, that is the ability to go wherever I want, whenever I want. And if we believe that has been a key success factor for increasing the number of vehicles on the roads, there's a reason to believe that that will flourish in the future as well. If we look here at this simple graph, it illustrates the number of vehicles in the world. And there are some milestones on this graph here I would like to have your attention to. In 1986, we achieved 500 million vehicles in the world in total. Only 16 years before that, in 1970, there were only 250 millions. And before that, it took 10 years to double the number of vehicles in the world. There's another significant date to pay attention to. That is the year 2010. That is actually the year where the world in total achieved the number of 1 billion vehicles, and those are mainly with combustion engines. Now, OECD, they have made a report and an analysis, and they predict that in the year 2050, then we will achieve 2.5 billion vehicles on the road. You could say from a marketing point of view, that's a fairly good average growth rate, 3.8% over 100 years, every year. But it has some implications. You could ask, is this realistic, or is this just propaganda? Is this propaganda to get people out of the vehicles? Let's have a look. If you look at this graph here, the horizontal line shows how the number of vehicles are distributed in average in the world. So on average in 2010, there were 6.75 persons per vehicle. As you can see here, there are differences. And let's take US as the country in the world with most vehicles on the road. They have 239 million vehicles, but there are only 310 million people, giving them a ratio of 1.3 persons sharing each car. Look then at China, 17 persons sharing one car. India, 56 persons sharing one car. You can say, okay, those countries, China, India, new economies. So let's take another look instead of just comparing with US, which is a heavy user. Let's take Italy. Italy, they have a ratio of 1.45 person sharing a vehicle. Some could say, okay, they are only Fiats, but still, in the statistics, they count. Go to Norway. Here we have 1.7 person sharing a vehicle. So what can I use those numbers for? I can take a view of the world. 2010, we were approximately 6.9 billion. And if there's a reason to believe that the mobility will also have success in China, how would that look if they say we want to have the same ratio as in Norway? Currently, there is only 78 million vehicles in China, but using the ratio from Norway, why shouldn't they? Then we reach 800 million vehicles in China alone. And now we haven't even counted for India, Indonesia, Brazil, and a lot of other countries with a lot of people. So, propaganda, realistic? For me, it seems fairly realistic. Overall, in the transportation sector, there are some challenges. 3 challenges I would like to address. One is the financing of a new infrastructure and maintaining the existing infrastructure. Then there's, of course, the congestion with more vehicles on the road. We even see this today with more vehicles on the road. There is a huge issue with congestion, leading to lost time in production, waste of energy, more casualties on the road, and of course also leading to environmental impact, more pollution, more emission. So those are the 3 major issues we see today in the transportation sector. So how can Q-Free, where I come from, how can we contribute, and why is this so interesting for us to focus on? Today we are supplying systems end to end. We have OBUs, onboard units. We have actually deployed 17 million OBUs around the world. But we have also been part of a EU-funded project called CEVIS, which made car-to-car communication possible, but also car-to-infrastructure communication possible. Then we have also delivered roadside, and we have delivered back office, and we have, of course, brought all this together, integrated it into a complete system. And those solutions here, we have deployed those in Norway, and I think some of you here cannot because you are paying to the system to finance infrastructure in Norway. I have to click here, sorry. And in Portugal, we have also deployed systems. In Stockholm, we have deployed systems to support or release from the congestion. But what we haven't done, or what we haven't seen in the world, is system that has been introduced due to environmental impact. But that has to come, probably. When we then zoom in on the electrical vehicle, then there are some obvious considerations and issues. And when I do a non-scientific approach to my network and ask, what are the concerns? What are the considerations? They are equal to what they talk about in the industry. It's about technology. It's how long can this battery, how long does it last? What does it cost to replace my battery? What's the durability? How far can I go from one point to another on the fully charged battery, given the conditions? There are considerations about the business model. Should I buy my car? Should I lease my car? Could I lease the battery? Can I have a system where I only pay per kilometer, per mileage? So a lot of considerations about the business model. And last but not least, there is also the user-friendliness, the distribution network, where can I charge my car? But also good things about able to drive into cities for free, park for free, use bus lanes and so on. So pros and cons. But those are the concerns and considerations before you go and acquire an electrical vehicle. Of course, Q-Free, we are not technology providers in that respect. So we don't build automotives, we don't build batteries, but we have technology to support this evolution. And we have technology to relieve some of the pains and some of the problems around the friendliness. And this is actually one of the projects we are working on currently. The project is basically addressing some of the most interesting aspects of having an electrical vehicle on the road. starting with when you drive in your vehicle and you can see the power meter. We want to support you with information, so we have all the stations around the car visible for you, so you can pick and choose, so you don't feel insecure. Do I run out of power? So where is the nearest power station? Because that's a very important information. Have access and knowledge about the network close to the car. When you pick the station you want to go to, you can either pick the nearest or you can pick the one you prefer. Then we give you driving directions. But that doesn't help the total equation, because one of the things is also availability. When you reach the power station, what do you want? You want to get your car charged immediately. So what we can do is also, due to this car to infrastructure communication, we can secure that you have a reservation. So when you come to the power station, we have a reservation for you already. And again, because we know who you are, we have the unit on board, we can connect this information to your account and also make the payment system easier. So when you drive in to the power station, we know who you are and we can charge your account in an easier way. So basically that's a project we are working on, so we can give our contribution into the industry to increase the usage and the penetration of electrical vehicles on the road. To summarize, there's a lot of things we can do, but again, if we take it on an individual level, one of the things we can do as an individual is, of course, next time we have to change our car, ask ourselves, should it be an electrical vehicle? We could also ask ourselves, because that's one of the privileges we have in this part of the world, is whether the second car should be an electrical vehicle. And again here I would like to refer to a study made in Europe, saying that 50% of all trips made in Europe are actually less than 6 kilometers. So a lot of the concerns we have about range, whether we can reach the next station, are actually not in play. Then there is, on a company level, things that we can do, and being part of the industry, we need to continue to invest in development, to new technology. But again, also here, being part of, some of you here are coming from businesses, consider, would it make sense to invest in a power station at the workplace to give employees access to charge their cars, customers, and so on. So on a company level, there's things that we can do. And on governmental level, it is for sure needed that they still facilitate investments in research and development. It is also needed that we invest in infrastructure. And then, of course, doing legislation that supports the penetration of electrical vehicles, giving example of, you can use the bus lane as an example, getting free access into the city. Those are examples where you can use the legislation to support the penetration of electrical vehicles. So all in all, individual level, company level, governmental level, there are things to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.